Today, I'm going to be getting the Platinum in The Elder Scrolls Online. A 9 out of 10 difficulty with an estimated 600-hour completion time. This is a game that has a total of 46 base game trophies. Now, I originally wasn't planning on making a video on this plat, since I have no footage of me originally going for it, but I went back on a second character to get footage to tie in with the original trophy clips that I had, so with creating our character, we choose the Knightly class, we then choose the Evanheart Pact, we skip the tutorial, which we start creating our character, and then we eventually load into the ship, which we start looking around somewhat. We then start looking for a way out, which we do eventually find, so we open a door, which brings us outside the ship. We start off by spending our first set of skill points, which gets us our first set of skills for our Nightblade class. We then go over to this way shrine where we go over to Stonefall's David Watch to begin our leveling up journey. So, once we're there, we start by looking around and we eventually encounter this dell which we try to enter, but are interrupted by this enemy which we eventually kill, and then we level up to enter the delve again and start taking care of each of the enemies that are inside the delve, making our way further into the delve, and as we make our way further, we start leveling up again, and then we go over to a different delve to level up more, and as we're leveling up, we eventually make our way over to level 10, which unlocks the campaigns, which gives us access to Cyrodiil, which we do enter. Once we're in Cyrodiil, we look in the map to see how big the area is, and then we explore the area with our horse, seeing what the place has to offer, before we actually start doing a later trophy, which will be quite troublesome. We then encounter this lumber mill, which will bring us our first two set of trophies called Support the Fight and Alliance for Recruits. And in order to get these two trophies, what we did was help capture a resource, which in order to do so, we need to first pick off all the enemies that surround the flag in this area. And we first do that by going up in this tower to pick off the enemy that's up top. This is so he can prevent us from sniping down while we capture the flag. We then pick off the enemy that followed us up here, and we start heading out to the tower, where we will begin by picking off the enemies that are by the tower. While we do that, we use the skills that we gathered along the way, which we eventually take care of both of them. We then take care of all the enemies that are nearby the flag, making sure not to accidentally die while doing so. And then we eventually start picking off the final guy, which will bring us our first two set of trophies for this game. We also got a useful vigor skill, which we will be using from now on. The next trophy is a story related trophy, and that's to complete the first story related quest. And in order to start the main story, you have to talk to this hooded figure over here, and they'll tell you that you gotta go speak to someone that wants to speak to you. So you go over to speak to them, and you find out that it's a trap, and you get knocked out. You then find yourself being taken along this very dark passageway in chains, and it is there where you get your whole soul taken from you. And when you wake up, you find yourself in this prison of sorts with no apparent way out, but luckily there's someone here named Goliath to actually break you out of this place. So she goes ahead and breaks the lock open, which will allow you to open the door and start breaking out of this place. As you're breaking out of this place, making sure to get any enemy that stands in your way, Lyris then informs you that there's someone else that we gotta break out, named the Prophet. So as we're heading to where he is being imprisoned, we make sure to get any enemy that actually stands in our way. And once we do eventually find where the Prophet is, we find that he is being imprisoned in this ball sphere of sorts, with no apparent way to break him out. So we go ahead and talk to Lyris, where she tells us that the only way for him to get out is if someone takes his place. And since I'm not taking his place, Once we've broken the Prophet out of prison, we then find the way to escape, which is using this rift, which we use it to escape to Tamriel, which is where we will get our next trophy related to the main quest.
Be wary, Vestige. Our very plane of existence is in peril. The threat of Molag Bal...
The next trophy has you entering the Harborage, where all your future story-related quests will be. And the Prophet here takes you in his vision, where you learn more about the 5 champions, and about this character, Marco, who betrayed them. So once you learn about that, you actually return to get your next story-related trophy.
Can I like, Vestige?
The next story trophy involves you rescuing Lyris, so you go over to where she's at, and you go bring her back to the Harborage, where you will go and get your next story-related trophy.
Farewell, Vestige.
Story trophy involves you locating information on Saisahan's whereabouts, so you go over to Daven's Watch to get information from different people, which brings you over to the cellar here, which you enter, and it brings you to this person who claims to know where Saisahan is. But you're attacked, and you return to the Harborage for the next trophy.
Didn't the Prophet plan our next move?
The next story-related trophy has you retrieve Albert Thurn from Cold Harbor, so you go and retrieve him, and you actually fight a projection of Marco. So once you defeat the projection, it goes away, and you return for your next story-related trophy.
I was wrong. Feel certain of it.
The next trophy is the one you've all been waiting for. That's right, it's the Emperor trophy. And for this trophy, you have to dominate the Alliance War battlefield and become the Emperor of Tamriel. And in order to become the Emperor, you have to be number 1 in your Alliance War leaderboards, which is an Alliance Points leaderboards. And in order to get Alliance Points, you have to actually capture keeps around the map that are not a part of your Alliance. I picked the Red Alliance, so I had to capture anything that is not red. You also get points for defending and repairing keeps as well. The next thing you have to do is actually capture the 6 keeps that's around the Imperial City. If you're first place in the leaderboards when this happens, you'll be crowned the Emperor. The next thing you have to keep in mind are the campaigns. I chose the 7-day campaign, and the rest are actually 30-day campaigns. These reset the leaderboard every 7 or 30 days. I highly recommend choosing the Ice Reach campaign, as it limits the players to below level 50, and you won't be getting to fights like these right here, or be lying dead like this, or maybe getting into keep fights like these. I then started the journey by capturing some resources which surround the keeps around the map. I then started capturing this keep, which first you have to actually damage the castle doors, and then have to get any enemies by the building, and then you have to damage the building door by getting a battering ram. Once you're inside, you'll get any enemies that surround the flags, and once you actually do take care of each of the enemies, you have to capture both flags, which you'll get the keep captured once you do that. I then continue capturing the resources, as this will add a steady supply of Alliance points to my place in the leaderboards, because the resources are actually very easy to capture compared to the keeps, as the resources only require 1 player to actually capture, whereas the keeps may require multiple. I then ended the day with 240,000 Alliance points, but unfortunately someone else was already crowned Emperor, so I would have to wait. The next day I find that I am no longer in first place, but second place, with the first person having a 30,000 point lead, so I go ahead and try capturing more resources to get points to catch up to the first place person. I then encounter this resource, which I knew would probably get someone to defend if I tried capturing it, since there was a nearby keep actually getting captured by some people. So I go ahead and try to capture this resource, and sure enough, someone came to try to defend, but I keep trying to capture this resource while trying to fight him at the same time, which actually causes the NPCs to spawn once I do capture it, which eventually led to me actually being able to kill him and actually get the defense points for actually defending the resource. I then started getting more resources captured and ended the day with 500 alliance points. I started off the next day by capturing some cubes, which added a very hefty amount of points to my place in the leaderboards. I then captured some resources, which actually allowed me to get first place and maintain a very good lead on first place. Lastly, the final thing left to do was to capture the remaining keep that was surrounding the Imperial City, when finally this happened. From getting Emperor, you get this costume, and you also get this title which other people can see, including yourself, if you turn nameplates on. You also get this throne that you're able to buy. We then continue with the story-related trophies, and the next one has us actually locating the whereabouts of Sai Sahan. So we actually go and try to find the location of where he's at, and we eventually do find where he's at, and we return for our next story-related trophy. The next story-related trophy actually goes and has us rescue Sai Sahan, so we go and rescue him, and we return to the Harborage for our next story-related trophy. The next story-related trophy actually has us retrieve a ring, which is sort of a key to an amulet, which is actually a weapon that we need to get. So we actually go and retrieve the ring from the place that we have to get it, and we actually return to the Harborage for our next story-related trophy. The next story-related trophy actually has us go retrieve the Amulet of Kings, which is the weapon that we actually have to get. So we go and try to get it, but we actually end up running into Marco, which we eventually do defeat. And then Molag Bal suddenly appears and takes Marco away to Cold Harbor. So we go ahead and retrieve the Amulet of Kings, and then we eventually return to the Harborage for our next story-related trophy.
Walk in the light, Vestige.
Now that Marco has been defeated, the next story-related trophy has you just listen to all the people in the Harborage on how to deal with the threats of Molag Bal, and once you listen to each and every one of them, you'll get to the next story-related trophy.
Now.
The final story-related trophy actually has you go defeat Molag Bal. So once you're ready, you enter this portal, which Talbot Nern then informs you that in order to use the amulet, you'll have to sacrifice someone. Sai Sahan actually wants to be sacrificed, so I choose him and receive the power of the amulet. So I go ahead and start heading towards Molag Bal, destroying some walls along the way. I eventually reach him, which he eventually pulls me towards him, which actually allows me to laser him, and then I eventually defeat him by slashing him, and we eventually go and reclaim our soul, and we get to the next story-related trophy.
I don't know that the world will ever see the like of Sai Sahan again. He was the
At this point on our journey, we are approximately 1 week, 1 day, and 8 hours into our journey, and the next two set of trophies have us reaching level 50 and spending the first champion point, which is something we got shortly after completing the main quest line.
You threaten.
The next two trophies we got by purchasing the styles from all the guild traders that are around the map. The next thing you have to do is actually flee from a guard, so I actually got the guard to aggro on me, and then I fled and got our next trophy. The next batch of trophies actually involve you clearing quests for different territories around the map, and also clearing all the different caves and locales. So we started off with the Ebonheart Pact, and we made sure to collect any sky shards, then work towards a later trophy that we'll be getting as well. So we started working towards the different quests in the Ebonheart Pact, and made sure to get any of the caves and locales that are also in the map, and we eventually got the first two set of trophies.
I have to go.
The next two trophies involve us doing the same thing, but only this time in the Daggerfall territory. So we go ahead and start clearing all the different quests, and we make sure to get any of the caves that are in the area as well, to work towards the next trophy that is also in this territory. And then we also started getting the sky shards towards the later trophy, and we got the next two set of trophies.
Yes.
Next batch of trophies actually involves clearing the different dungeons that are in the game, which are the public and the group dungeons. These are dungeons that give the player a certain amount of loot depending on which one you pick, and we started off with the group dungeons, making sure to clear each and every one of them that are in the different alliances that are in the game, which there is a total of 3 of them, and we eventually got the 3 trophies. We then moved on to the public dungeons and made sure to get each and every one of them that are in the different alliances that are in the game, and once we did do that, we actually got ourselves the last 3 batch of trophies. The next 2 trophies are the same as some of the previous ones, only this time you have to complete all the quests and cave locales in the Aldemary territory. So we started completing some of the quests around the Aldemary territory, and also made sure to get any of the caves that are also in the Aldemary territory, which eventually led to us getting the next 2 trophies for the game.
Before you, hear you.
The next trophy involves us clearing all the caves and locales that are located in the Cold Harbor area, so we go ahead and clear all the locales and the caves that are located there, and get the next trophy. The next thing I did was clear all the caves that are located in Cyrodiil. You're likely to have most of them cleared out by now if you went for the Emperor trophy, so I went ahead and cleared all the remaining caves that were located in Cyrodiil and got myself the trophy. The next thing you have to do is have your armor slots repossessed by a guard, and in order to have them repossessed, you have to have stolen items, and some are located in this place. So I went ahead and got them repossessed and got the next trophy. The next trophy I got was to get a kill below 5% health in either Cyrodiil or the Battlegrounds areas. I chose the Battlegrounds areas, and I actually got this after a couple of games of actually playing in there. The next trophy involves you completing the guild quest line for the Fighters Guild, and in order to complete the quest line for the Fighters Guild, you have to complete all these quests that are related to the Fighters Guild, and once we actually did that, we got ourselves the next trophy.
It's great, comrade. I grow.
The next trophy involves you completing all the quests that are located in the Cyrodiil area. This one can be quite tricky, as some of the quests can only be started once your alliance actually captures the area. So, we ended up going for all the quests, and we eventually got ourselves the trophy.
That's a relief.
The next thing we did was actually complete another guild quest line, and that guild quest line is actually the Mages Guild, which involves you completing these quests that are located on the screen here, and once we actually did manage to complete each and every quest, we managed to get ourselves the next trophy for this game.
You've passed the challenges.
I can't stay in here, Adept. Let us speak some more outside.
The next trophy we did was actually eliminating the Serpent and his Scaled Court throughout all of Craglorn. This is a quest line which has you complete 8 different quests throughout all of Craglorn, which has you actually eliminating the Serpent and his Scaled Court. So once we did that, we got ourselves the next trophy.
Take up my blade, Titus Valerius. You have earned it.
The next trophy actually involves becoming a werewolf, and the way we did that was having a werewolf actually bite you in one of these areas around the map at night time. Once you do that, you can actually complete a short quest and get yourself the next trophy.
Once upon...
The next trophy we did was actually collect all the sky shards that are located throughout Tamriel, and the total amount of sky shards are actually 319 total sky shards. And we did that while doing the quest trophies, which have a total of 702 quests. I kind of forgot to mention that important detail, but thankfully, since we were getting the sky shards while doing the quest, there's only a couple left, which got us our next trophy. The next trophy is actually similar to the werewolf trophy, and this time it requires you to become a vampire. And in order to become a vampire, you have to get bit by a blood fiend in these areas, and then complete a short quest to get yourself the next trophy.
My beauty relish your kin live among the mortals. They may...
The next trophy is the Master Fisher trophy, which is actually a very boring trophy that involves you getting all the fish that are located throughout Tamriel. This is a trophy that took me around 40 to 50 hours to complete, and most of the time, it'll have you doing something like this. The Artaeum fish bowl actually increases the rare fish chance of getting fish, so once we started actually getting the rare fish, it was only a matter of time before we got ourselves the next trophy. We are finally down to the final two trophies of the game, which both involve the dark anchors that are located throughout Tamriel. The first one we decided to do was defeat all the generals that appear at the dark anchors. Depending on which anchor you're destroying, it has a chance to actually spawn the general you need towards the end of actually destroying the anchor. Once you actually defeat all the generals that appear at the anchors, you will get yourself the next trophy for the game.
The plan is in place. You are but an inconvenience.
The final trophy we did was for destroying all the anchors that are located throughout Tamriel. Thankfully we were going for this while doing the quest trophies, and all the remaining anchors were actually located in the Cyrodiil area. And in order to destroy the anchors, you have to destroy them by charging them up by all the enemies that you kill around it. So once you destroy all 4 of them that are located around the anchor, an actual boss will spawn in and towards the middle, and once we actually started defeating the boss, all that was left to do was actually to destroy this Python, and we got ourselves the Platinum Trophy. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you'd like me to complete any of the games that are listed in the subscriber milestone list that I got made, be sure to subscribe, because I'm planning to complete the games no matter how difficult the games may be. And I'm also opening to suggestions, so if you got a better suggestion for one of the places in my milestone list, be sure to let me know, because I'm actually open to actually changing them. This is the first platinum video on my channel. If you'd like to see more of these types of platinums, be sure to subscribe, because I have some very interesting ones planned ahead. The next video will be on 7 Days to Die, and an upcoming platinum video after that will be one that you probably wouldn't expect if you are new to this channel, but will be one that will be long awaited if you've been keeping up with my live streams. That's right, the next platinum video that I will have after 7 Days to Die is Crypto the Necrodancer.